So speaking of chasing each other, Carson Wentz has finally found a new home, guys. He is going to Indy for a second round, or it was for a third round pick and a conventional second round pick. Do you know exactly what that conventional second round pick means?
No. So it's a conditional pick. So if he, I believe, if I read it correctly, if he's a Pro Bowl, if he makes it to the Pro Bowl, then that second round pick turns into a first round pick.
So it is based off of performance. So like if the Colts go to the Super Bowl, the Eagles will get even better picks.
It's something like that. Yep.
Yeah. So
how would that work? Would they just add a pick to the first round, or would the Colts have to give up their first round and they get the second rounder?
No, instead of it being a second round, it would be a first round instead of a second round.
Yes.
Well, whenever you think about it, there's already a set 32 picks. Right. And as of right now, it's a part of the second round's 32 picks.
So they would just trade.
So they would made it to be the first round instead.
And they would just take a first?
God, you're a Packer fan.
So the Colts would give the Eagles their first round pick instead of their second round pick.
Okay, I didn't know if the Colts would still keep that first round pick or not. That's all I was confused about.
Yeah. So I want to ask you guys this question because we have about 15 minutes before Joey comes on here.
For a smart kid, Wyatt, you're. Oh my
I didn't know.
God.
Okay.
Why would they, if they traded the pick for a condition, why would they get to keep their pick?
I've never heard of these conditional picks unless if it's like in the NBA and they have the protected and unprotected picks and stuff. I didn't know the NFL even had that.
So Drew clears it up. If he plays 70% of games next year, it turns into a first round pick instead of a second round pick. So if I'm the Colts, I'm starting Brissett until week 5, and then I'm going ahead and bringing in Carson Wentz.
So let me ask you guys this question, Combs. I'm going to kick it to you first. Does this trade make the Indianapolis Colts the favorite in the AFC next year?
So you guys have heard, look, Carson Wentz is still not a top 10 quarterback, but this was a much better fit for him than it would have been in Chicago, like when you guys were talking about this earlier in the week. Because one, much better offensive line, a better run game, and possibly, depending on what they go and add, maybe even better wide receiving core. So this is definitely a much better fit for Carson Wentz. Are they a Super Bowl contender now? I don't know, because maybe this will allow Carson Wentz to return to that MVP form.
It will, because he's going to have an offensive line.
Yeah, he's still got to go out there and show he can make the decisions. And that's what he's been lacking over the last 2 years or so is the decision making. So I would say, because here Carson Wentz is a reclamation project, and you don't know what you're going to get yet until you see him on the field. You don't know what you're getting out of Carson Wentz. So that's why him to Indy makes so much sense, is because they've got, not only do they got Jacoby Brissett there, which I think I would say you have to trade him now. I would assume, but maybe they keep him just in case Carson Wentz is what we've seen in Philly over the last couple of years. But I don't know if it makes them a Super Bowl team. I think they'll probably win the South. I mean, they were close to winning the South this year. So I would give it to them. I think they could at least win a playoff game with Carson Wentz.
So you're giving it to them that they're a playoff bound team with a playoff win, or Super Bowl bound?
They're a playoff bound team. I wouldn't say Super Bowl just yet. I have to see how they play. I have to see how Carson Wentz performs. I have to see him not make the mistakes he's been making for the last 2 years in Philadelphia. And if he can do that, if he can correct that, if it's just a coaching thing, if he just was unhappy being in Philly and now he's going to be happier being in Indy and he returns to MVP form, then yes, then maybe he'll be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. But I have to see it before I can say yes or no, because it's just too many uncertainties. It'd be like if they had signed Mitch Trubisky. I would have been like, man, that's going to be a tough freaking, like, anybody who picks him up, it's going to be tough. But maybe it was the Bears coaching staff that held him down. Maybe it was the play calling. So let's see how he performs. I'm going to have to see how he performs before I make up my mind.
So Wyatt, let's kick it to you. I mean, this is your grandma's team, so you get to watch a lot of Colts game when she's around.
Yeah.
Are they Super Bowl bound with Carson Wentz at the helm?
No, not yet. I think it's going to take a little bit of time for them to reach that. Honestly, I don't think so. I know what I've seen from Carson Wentz. He had a bad year this year, and that was and I wouldn't even say really a bad year. He didn't have any weapons. He didn't have protection. He was missing a lot of key pieces that would help you succeed at the quarterback
Horrible
position.
Decision making.
I
don't care about the bad, making mistakes and having a bad season. Yes, that's on you. But the bad decisions that he was making on the field is what I need to see him turn around.
Are they bad decisions or were they rushed deciits?
No,
I think they were rushed. I think they were rushed decisions. That's kind of what I'm getting at here.
Decision. It's regardless of it's rushed or not. It's still a bad decision. I mean, you're an NFL quarterback.
Rushed plays a part in that
really?
As well.
Because Deshaun Watson was rushed all year. He had 102 quarterback rating.
Deshaun Watson has a better offensive line than what Philly has. He has Laramie Tunsil on the left side.
Oh man. Okay. All right. Go ahead. Because you guys are gonna get me going. My blood pressure raised. I'm about to interview Joey Beltran in a little bit, and you guys are getting me all hyped up. Let's go.
Wyatt, Combs, jump off air, take your blood pressure pill, and then come back. Go ahead, Wyatt.
But no, I think it's all going to rely on the assets that are around him. I would honestly go as far to say I don't think that Carson making good decisions, that's going to play a part in it. But I think the biggest X factor in this move is going to be Michael Pittman, the guy who they drafted last year. That kid, I'm telling you right now, mark my words for this, okay? Because I would also like to mention I was the first person before anybody else in the world, anybody else in sports talk radio said Carson went to the Colts. It was me and Combs. Buck was off that day. It was me, Combs, and LeBlanc was on for part of that show. And I said to both of them that Carson Wentz needs to go to the Colts because Frank Reich's there. That was the last time he was in MVP form. That was the last time they were a Super Bowl contender whenever Frank Reich was there. I said that. So first off, I'd like to say that. Second off, I am just saying it is going to be all about Pittman. And he's going to have an offensive line now. I mean, the Colts offensive line is I would go as far as say it's the best offensive line in the league because of not just the talent, but they are the youngest offensive line in the league, and they all have a couple of years left on contract. So you literally have Quentin Nelson, you have Kelly, you have Costanza did leave, so he's going to have a little bit of a hole at tackle. But now that they traded him away, they're still going to have their first round pick. They kept that. They didn't have to give anything up, so they'll probably use that first pick for a tackle or some kind of an offensive lineman to fill that hole, or a DB. That would be the only thing that I say that was the two holes they had. This team was simply a quarterback away from being a playoff contender and a possible Super Bowl contender. Like Combs said, I got to see how they play before I judge if they're a Super Bowl contender. Right off the bat here, I can tell you, in my book, they are a playoff contender. They are absolutely a playoff team. I think they win their division this year because I think that Tennessee kind of starts to. We saw it a little bit last year after they had that playoff run. Everybody expected them to come back and be really good off the playoff run, and they were good. They were great, but I think they're going to take a little bit of a digression as for this year. I think they'll maybe be that 10-6, 9-7 form we saw 2 years ago from them. I still think they're a playoff team, but I think that the Colts come away with the win in that division, and I would go as far to say they're a 11-5 team next year.